Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create the dual light effect in 3 ways. And the first method, we are going to be using the gradient map, and it's going to give us this type of result. And for the second method, we're going to go ahead and use the gradient fill method, and it's going to give us this type of effects and color as well. And for the last method I'm going to show you is going to be the brush tool method. We are going to be using just the brush tool in creating this effect, and we are starting right now. We're going to start by creating our canvas, and in this case I'm going to be using 720 by 1080 pixels. And once you select the size, I will just go ahead and hit on create. We're going to have our canvas just like this, and the next thing I'm going to do is to bring in our model, which is going to be the main subject of our design. And once I have the model like this, I will just go ahead and hit on the plus sign, and I will hit on Ctrl+0 from my keyboard to have the full screen just like this. And the first thing I need to do is to go ahead and rename this model. And once I've done that, I want to go ahead to the quick selection tool. And once I have the quick selection tool, I want to come back to where it says select subject. I'm going to wait a little bit for Photoshop to do that work. And once it selects everything like this, I will just go ahead and hit on the layer mask to mask it out. And we're going to have it like this. What I can possibly do is to hit on the layer mask so that I will be on this panel right here and remove some of the parts that wasn't selected. Firstly, I'm going to resize the screen. And using the hand tool, I'm going to come over to this part right here that is not being selected. I will go ahead and use the lasso tool, and in this case I will just remove this part right here that wasn't selected, and like this is okay. Now I can go ahead and hit on the OK button, Ctrl+1 from my keyboard to zoom out. And now what we can possibly do, firstly we want to go ahead and create a solid color background, and in this case, we are going to be using black as our color. And once I select the color from the color picker, we just go ahead and hit on OK and make sure the man is above the background. And once you have it like this, now I need to go ahead to the adjustment layer and come back to the black and white. I need to desaturate the model. And once I have it like this, remember I said the first method is going to be with the gradient map. Now I can come back to the adjustment layer and come over to where it says gradient map. And once I select the gradient map, I will come over to the control, and firstly we want to select our color, and in this case I want to hit on this white. And once I'm here, I want to select our first color. In this case we are going to be using this form of cyanish blue color. I will use the color picker to select the blue color and hit on OK, and still come to the OK to close the gradient editor. The next thing I can do again is to return to the adjustment layer, go over to gradient map for the second time, and go over to the control as well. In this case, we are going to be choosing our second color, and our second color you can basically choose any color you like, and in this case I'm going to be using red. Okay, very bright red, and hit on the OK. Still hit on the OK to close the gradient editor, and now we're going to have it like this. And for me to have this effect, here's where the magic is going to happen. For me to have this effect, let me first press on Ctrl+0 from my keyboard. And for me to have this effect, I want to come back to the gradient tool. Make sure that your gradient is set to linear, and once it's set to linear, you want to draw your gradient. Here's where the magic is going to happen. If you draw the gradient from here, you are not going to have the correct results. Okay, and if you draw from the center, make sure the measurement you are taking from this part right here, from the left part, is going to be the same measurement you are going to be taking from the right part. Okay, in this case we are going to be removing some red so that we have our other color effect, the other blue. And I'm going to start from the face, from the center, drag it like this and make it to come to the right side until you are not seeing the sharp edges. And now there's no sharp edges. Now you can let it go. And in this case you're going to have it like this. You can see how it turned out to be, and this is for the gradient map method. And now I'm still going to show you the other method. I promise you 3 methods to have this type of effect. And for the other method, we still need to go to Ctrl+N again, choose the same size 720 by 1080, and hit on create a canvas. Once you have your canvas like this, remember we need to drag in our model, and once you have it, hit on the good sign, come over to the quick and selection tool, select the subject, wait for Photoshop to do their work. And once everything is being selected, come back to the layer mask to mask it out. This time around, no need for me to be doing the naming or doing the refining. We did it before. Firstly, like as we did before, come over to the adjustment, black and white, to desaturate the model. And once you have it like this, come back to the adjustment layer. Firstly, we need to go ahead and select the solid color. Remember, we selected black as our background color. We're going to have it like this. Always make sure the model is above the color that you created. Okay, and the black and white as well should be above every other thing, just like this. And now we can come over to the adjustment layer and select gradient, and this time around is blue, and we want to change the other color, which is going to be opposite. And this time around I can go ahead and choose red, hit on the OK button, and as well this white part, we want to make it 100% red, and by dragging it like this, it's going to feed the whole canvas with red color, just like this. Come over to this angle and I can make it to be like 3 o'clock. Okay, in this way it's going to be like this, and then hit on the OK. And once you have it like this, now you need to come over to the blending mode, and for this blending mode we can basically use two colors. We can now use this multiply, that's going to give us this cool and soft effect, or you can just go ahead and use color. Color is going to give you this type of effect. You can choose any of the blending mode that you love, either this color or multiply. Me personally, I prefer this multiply, and I'm going to leave it to be this multiply. And what you can possibly do is to add some adjustments. Come over to the curve, decrease some of the highlight, go over to adjustment again, and come over to levels, and this time around add some highlights to brighten the bright spot like this. Increase this as well a little bit. You're going to have this type of effect right here. This method is the gradient fill, not the gradient map. You can choose which one you like already between the gradient fill and the gradient map. The gradient map was like this, and the gradient fill is like this. I can go ahead and hit on Ctrl+0 to have the full screen. The gradient fill and the gradient map, okay, you can see the difference already. And for this gradient map, if you feel this color is too soft, like I said before, come back to the gradient. You can always change the blending mode to either be color, and for the color you're going to have it like this. And as well, you're going to work with levels, add some shadows and remove some highlight like this. You're still going to have the same effect, and anyone you choose is going to depend on you. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead to the third method that I promised at the beginning of this video. You still need to hit on Ctrl+N from your keyboard. We're still going to select the same size of canvas and hit on create. And once you hit on create, I want to bring in the main model in question, just like we did before. Hit on the good sign, come over to the quick selection tool and select the subject. Once the subject is being selected, I will just go ahead and mask it out just like this. And firstly, like as we always did, we want to go ahead and add a solid color. Okay, and always choose black as the solid color. Hit on OK. Make the solid color to be below everything. And once you have it like this, I need to go ahead again and add adjustment layer. In this case, it's going to be black and white to desaturate our model. We're going to have it like this. And now here's where it's going to happen. Remember, this is the brush method. We are going to be using just brush, not gradient. In this case, I can go ahead and create a new layer. Once I create a new layer, I'm going to hit on B from my keyboard to select the brush tool. Okay, and come over to the color. Firstly, you can select any of the color that you like. Let's assume in this case we are going to be selecting this light blue, this cyanish color, and hit on OK. You want to make sure that you choose the hard round brush, not the soft round. Hard round brush. That is the only way we're going to get this effect right. Hard round brush, and then make sure the opacity and the flow, they are both 100%. Hold down the shift key and place your brush at the center of the model. Click once like this, or you can as well Ctrl+Z, hold down the shift key. Once you click once, drag it down so that you will have that straight line just like this. And once you are okay, you can as well go ahead and color this part right here. You're going to have the effect come up just like this. And again, you want to go ahead and change this color. In this case, remember we are using red. I'm going to select red and hit on OK. Just as we did before, you want to hold down the shift and color down just like this, just as we did before. Do it this way, and now everything's okay. If you feel that the color is not at the center, you can still hold down the shift and drag it down just like this. And once you have it like this, I know the color is not equal, but it's okay. On your own, you can always make it equal. And as well, it doesn't really mean. First thing we need to do is to remove this straight line. And remove this straight line, We want to come over to the filter, and once you're here, you want to come over to the blue and come over to where it says Gaussian blue. We want to remove that straight line, and something like this already okay. No sharp edges anymore. We just want our work to blend together correctly like this. And now I want to hit on OK. Once you hit on OK, just as we did before, you can use multiply. In this case, you're going to have this beautiful effect. If you don't like this multiply as the blending mode, you can go ahead again and choose color. I'm not always a fan of a photo that is too bright like this. On your own, you can choose any blending mode of your choice, but in this case, I'm going to be using multiply. You're going to have it just like this. You can see the way it turned out to be. And now I can go ahead and hit on Ctrl+0 from my keyboard. And this is the brush method. This is the gradient fill method. And this is the gradient map method. In any of the method you use, you are going to achieve the same result. Okay? I hope you learned a lot from this video. And if you do, make sure to subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up so that whenever I upload another video just like this, you will always be the first person to be notified. And having said this, I'm going to see you in the next video. Cheers! Peace out.